So, to prepare us, and some of us are nearing retirement. Yes. You know, you can voluntarily retire and continue your life in another thing. I will discuss that when I'm to talk to you later. Mr. Sunday Adedoyin is supposed to lead us on this, but he has sent able representative. They will read the profile briefly. While they are reading the profile is to allow you to adjust. Once they finish reading the profile, his representative, Mr. David, will come up. Also, do you have the details? Okay. You can read the profile of the representative. Please sit back, take notes in this session. Because we are the one, our CGOs, elders, secretaries will be coming to, and we are the one to guide them on what to do, on how to go about things. Over to you, sir. They are not ready. Please come over. They will do the introduction later. Who are the people to bring it up? They are on strike. Timothy, what happened? Please continue. What happened? Don't worry, just introduce yourself. All those people concerned should see us now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, pastors in the house. I would like to stand on the existing protocol. I believe we all enjoyed our meals. I would appreciate if we can make this session a bit interactive. Scanning through the auditorium, I noticed we have lots of young people in the house, and talking about retirement now might be something we think it's still very far. But as we begin to journey through the presentations, I am certain that we'll begin to know why we need to pay attention. My name is David Adetona. I'm representing Mr. Sunday Adedoyin. I'm the Head of Relationship Management and Marketing for Outright Retirement and Financial Solutions. What do we do at Outright Retirement and Financial Solutions? Simply put, in a short phrase, is we help you plan your tomorrow today. And we all know that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with just a step. And like I noted, that we have lots of young people in the house, it is very important that you begin with the end. You begin to have the end. You begin to think of that end now. So I would want us to note our questions. As we go on, I will try as much as possible to run through the slides, then I will take your questions afterwards. So please, my colleague is with me in person of Mr. Sunday Onodiji is also here. So it would pass across our questionnaire for you to just appraise us briefly after the presentation. Once again, I would like to welcome everybody to the 2019 edition of the ICRA. You're welcome. So, we are talking about retiring to retire. The word retiring there, it's continuous. Everything you begin to do now, everything you are doing here, forget the fact that you are not at your office at the moment. Everything you have been doing from the day you took up that offer letter, from the day of your first employment takes you closer to retirement. You might be 30, you might be 40, you might think you still have 20 more years to retirement. But I tell you, retirement is closer than you think. For some of us, because we work in Redeemed Christian Church of God, we might think everything leads down to that point where you have to just wait till you're 60 or you spend 35 years in service. But I tell you, there are so many ways that you can actually exit your job. It could be by means of voluntary retirement. It could be you resigning your appointment. And it could be your employer telling you, thank you very much for your service. We appreciate what you've contributed so far, but we would like you to take your leave from here. So, retiring to retire. From this picture, what do we think? What can you say using this picture? What would you say is happening here? I would like someone from the audience to, I don't know if we have a mic down there, for somebody to just help us. What can you actually say about this image that is being displayed? Because of our time, I would appreciate if we can have volunteers. I feel limited to this podium, but I would appreciate if a mic can go around. But please, without the mic going around, can you just give the mic to somebody to help us? Thank you very much, ma'am.
From this picture, somebody fainted and people are trying to pour water on the person.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. A man fainted there and they're trying to pour water on him. Okay, any other person with another view? Thank you very much, sir.
I want to believe that it's one of the pensioners that was on the queue with his colleagues, fainted, and is being revived with water. I think it's one of the retirees on the queue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's probably a retiree, and he has queued for several minutes, several hours, and he couldn't stand anymore, so he collapsed and is there. For most of us here, we will be advising people when we get back to our offices. We have a lot of aged people who will be going on retirement soon that will be coming to us to seek advice. Or even ourselves, we will begin to plan. There is this quote that says, "He who fails to plan already has planned to fail." For us to not end up like this man, then we need to begin to take the issue of our retirement a bit serious. In the course of this presentation, I would want us to take, I'll be focusing on 4 objectives. The first one will be that we have a positive mindset about us anticipating retirement with a positive mindset and with joy. For most people, retirement to them is death sentence. And it feels so because they've really not planned towards it. It's just as if it comes upon them suddenly and they are beginning to wonder, how did I find myself here? The next thing we would want to also address is for you to begin to put in place realistic plans for you to have or for you to remain active in retirement. And not just active, you're also looking at your health. You need to be healthy in your mind and in your body. By so doing, you would be able to have a retirement of your dreams. The third thing is also for us to familiarize ourselves with all of the benefits and its options that are available to us. Because you cannot begin to plan for retirement when you don't really know what or where to gather the resources for you to use during retirement. You need to know where to get all of these resources. And this is what we will also be discussing in a short while. Finally, we would want to have everybody understand to a certain level, or where you begin to have the knowledge for you to advise other people that you'll be coming across, or for you to begin to plan towards the challenges that will be coming up in retirement. Retirement would come with its own challenges. It will come with in diverse way. For different people, it will be different challenges. So what we will be discussing is for you to be well equipped to handle this challenge that will be coming up. We are all believers. If we briefly look at the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. For those of us that are with smartphones, if you quickly check, you would get the meaning to that image that you have there. Please, I would also want to ask. Okay. Praise God. From this image we are seeing here, what can you make of this image? I want someone in the house to just look at this image. What can you make of this image? What can you make of this image? Please just give the mic to somebody. Okay? Can somebody just please step out to help us, just give us an insight into what he or she understands about this image? What does it tell you? What does it image tell you? Please, you can come out, sir.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
It's a picture of an uncompleted building.
Okay.
And it's already been bushy around, and then maybe the owner could not be able to complete it.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that word. Maybe the person that started was unable to finish it. Now, the problem with most people in retirement is the fact that they are over-ambitious. They have this over-ambitious plan for their retirement. They are already dreaming of a retirement where they would have a boat cruise around the world, where they are going to spend the rest of, they are going to relocate from Nigeria to a better place where there's electricity, where life seems to be more conducive. That is what most people begin to think. That book of Luke 14, that scripture that we displayed, what it's simply saying is, even Jesus Christ is recommending that you need to sit down and plan for a building. He said, who wants to build a house that will not sit down and calculate what it's going to cost him to erect that building and begin to put that in place, so that in case when you now start and you couldn't finish, people will now begin to mock you. The same thing with most people in their retirement plans. They are thinking too big. There is nothing stopping you from thinking big. But it is not a situation where you cut your coat according to your size, to your size. But it's a situation where you cut your coat according to the available materials. If they have given you 3 yards and you are 6 feet tall, you will know that you cannot sew long sleeve. You will either sew short sleeve and a knickerbocker, or a trouser that is a pencil shape, not so bad. So you need to know the resources available to you. If this man that is building this house, if he had built a 2-story building, I believe he would have been living in it long before he's building this Colosseum. Bush wouldn't have gone around it. Everything seems to be falling apart. And for people in this category, what happens? They begin to feel there's this rampant condition now. They say they are depressed. What causes depression? For some people, it's just because they expect too much, or they've set in motion too many things, so many balls running at the same time. I pray we will not have a plan that we will not be able to finish in Jesus' name. So, what do you think is the major challenge of people who are in service? For most of us, when we wake up in the morning and we are going to our place of work, what is that thing that keeps you worried, and you begin to think about it, that this job, this thing, this life that I'm living, this job I am in, there's this thing that keeps making you feel uncomfortable, unsatisfied. What are one of those things? I would like somebody from the house to please tell us one of the things that gives you a cause for concern when you go to work or when you think about your work life generally. I want you to please step out because of the mic, please. We have a very short time, so we would appreciate if we can actually run this presentation as interactive as possible and as involved as possible. So, what is your greatest fear as a person with regards to your job? When you think about your job or when you go to work in the mornings, what is that concern you keep having? Personally now, not with regards to the job. Personal concern. Who is helping us? We are all young people in the house, and I believe we have eaten. So please, let us make it a bit engaging. I will want somebody to come out. What is your fear? You know, these things concerns us. And sometimes we begin to think that, well, for me as a person, I still have a long way to go. I shouldn't be bothering myself with this. But you would find out that for most of us, either you are thinking about it now or you are not thinking about it now. One thing remains a fact: life after service. Have you started planning about what happens outside this job? How would you spend your life after this? For most of us, we are, like I said when I started this presentation, it's not just about you. It's about the people that you are responsible for. It's about the people that are closer to retirement as well, that you need to advise and you need to give a feedback to when you get back to your office. So life after service, if you have not been thinking about it, you need to start thinking about it. There was a situation of a man who has worked in an organization as a director. He's been there for 30 years. He started his career from that organization, and he retired. And a week after retirement, he dressed up and entered into his car and set out for the office. His life is so used to that organization, he couldn't just stay back. He couldn't just leave the office. He drove to the car park and they told him, welcome, sir. Hope no issues. And he was like, why are you asking me? Hope no issues. I mean, is it not my office? And they said, oh, we thought you retired, so we're just wondering if there's any issue. Oh, he said, am I retired? You need to learn to leave the office behind. The moment you retire, you are out of the office. All of those enjoyments you used to have in terms of, some of us, we have our official cars, we have a driver, all of those things will not be going with you in retirement for most of us. So we need to then begin to put plans in place. If you have not been worrying about life after service, please, you need to begin to do that now. While I was still working with one of the top PFAs in Nigeria, one thing that was constant is this: there is no amount of money that you pay to retirees that they feel satisfied with. They keep coming back, I have 20 million in my account. You only gave me this small money, and I need money. My son is going for his master's. I need money. Can't you borrow me from this money I have with you? You keep sending me big statement of account. I can't access the money. Why are you people like this? Most people go into retirement as a beggar because they've actually not planned for their retirement. Everything that comes their way is just to spend and spend and spend. I would want to make a statement here that your salary that you are being given is not that take home you take home that is the salary. Your salary is actually what you are able to put aside. That is your salary. Because at the end of the day, it's your savings that you are able to fall back on, not the figure that has been credited into your account. For most of us, we go from one IOU to bank loan, from bank loan to some friend's loan, and from that, we end up not financially stable. Like I said, financial planning, pre-retirement counseling, that's what we are having today. You need to begin to give yourself that counsel now. You need to begin to plan for your retirement. We would also be looking at you constructing a realistic plan. For most of us, like I said, we have ambiguous retirement plan. We think too big whilst having access to little resources. You need to begin to create an effective plan that is realistic, that you can achieve, that you can measure. So if you are saying that I need to own an apartment, then you need to begin to measure it. Have I bought a land? Okay, I have a land now. What have I done on the land? What stage is this house? You need to begin to put all of this in place. And like I said also, most of us, our retirement plan is our friend. And Mr. Paul retired and he was able to do this. He went for this plan. This was what he did. He did this. And so I'm going to also do like Mr. Paul. For each of us, we have unique cases. So you need to have a dynamic plan that is unique to just your own situation. Mr. Paul might just have a son and his wife that he needs to cater for. You might have 4 children that you need to cater for. You might have your friend and extended family depending on you. So you don't fall into the same category with Mr. Paul. So you need to begin to consider your own situation and begin to make adequate plan to address the peculiarity of your case. So we are talking about retiring to retire. Help me ask your neighbor, do you have a plan for your retirement? You know, for some of us, our heart will begin to beat faster when you begin to go further in this presentation. You begin to know that you have not even started yet. It's always best when we are still working. We always have that freedom. We have access to so many monies now. Everything is coming your way. But you need to focus on the things ahead. So if I may ask, when do you think is the best time to begin to plan for your retirement? Now. I love that chorus answer. Now. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The plan for retirement starts from the day you start your first employment. The day you take that offer letter is the day your clock starts to tick. It's the day they begin to tell you that you spent, that in some offices you see them, they bring cake to you. Congratulations, you are 1 year old in the office today. Oh, we are celebrating. They take pictures with you. Subtract that 1 year. They are telling you, subtract that 1 year from the total number of years you need to work. So you are closer to retirement than you know. So you keep saying, oh, it's 34 more years to go. Before you know it, it's 2 more years to go. Then you now begin to want to do too much. Your retirement plan, if you don't have any now, if you have not been taking note of your retirement plans, please, when you leave this auditorium, begin to think of what you need to do, how you want to spend your retirement. Begin to plan for it. What you earn is not your salary. What you save is what you classify as your salary. If you look at this diagram, you find out that there are 4 colors there. You have the green. It's just like the traffic lights. When you are there, it will tell you, green, speed up, you can go, you have free access to the road. At this stage, when you are still in the green, majority of us fall in that category of that green now. This is the stage where you begin to accumulate wealth, where you begin to gather all your resources, where you can decide to say, I want to put some money in shares, I want to buy some shares, I want to do this business. You can decide to do a work here, and you serve as and when you are on leave, you run again to another place to pick up another part-time job. You freelance for them. You audit for them. You begin to prepare their account, do an account reconciliation for them. It is at this stage of green that you have the strength to do it. The Bible even confirms that we should seek the Lord in the days of our youth. You need to begin to plan in the days of your youth. Whatever you gather at this green stage is what you then begin to, at that yellow stage, that's what you take into the yellow. Now, the yellow stage is the stage where you begin to say that, okay, now I'm getting closer to retirement. I cannot be buying shares anymore. It's too risky. It's an high-risk investment for me. You begin to gather, mop up your investment. You begin to look for, you are now looking for fixed income instruments to put your money into. You begin to look at, okay, let me build an apartment. Maybe when I begin to get the rent, you don't build a house every month, but the rent keep coming in, either every month or every year, whichever way you agree with your tenants. Now, the combination of the green and the yellow is what you take into the red. At that stage of the red, you don't have the energy to run here and there to make money. You only start withdrawing from all of your efforts in the green and the yellow. Whatever you are able to gather in the green and the yellow is what will guarantee how long or how well your red will become. If you don't have enough stored in your green and your yellow, that red will become disastrous. And that's why you have most people, the moment they retire, give them 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You hear that they've pasted, gone to meet the Father. They are gone because they don't have enough saved in the green and the yellow. And by the time they draw the few things they are able to have gathered, they run out of it. And sometimes they just go into depression, and from depression, they go into some sickness that they don't have the funds to even manage, and that's the end. But if you have enough stored in the green and the yellow, your red will be very, very enjoyable. Then you can then begin to talk about the blue. Then you can now begin to think that, okay, what do I leave for my beneficiaries? What will I give to my children? Who is getting this house? Who is getting that company? Who am I giving access to my bank account? That is when you begin to talk about intergenerational transfers. But if what you have in your own green and yellow is not enough to take care of you, you cannot have a blue in your own life circle. I pray we will not be one of those who are going to have a miserable retirement in Jesus' name. So, there are certain questions we would like to ask ourselves in this planning for our retirement. Why you want to you are drawing out a retirement plan. You are now asking yourself, for you to draw out this plan, how much money will you need to live comfortably in retirement? How much money? Now, this is an ambiguous question. For some of you can just say it from your head. Mama, I need 200 million. I will need, maybe like $1 billion because I will need to live to the fullest of life. It is not about you just quoting a figure. There are so many things in it. You begin to look at the lifestyle you want to live. Your lifestyle determines the amount you need to be putting aside for retirement. You cannot be living in Ikorodu when you are working in your youthful days, and at retirement you want to relocate to VGC. If your resources cannot carry it, even if you can carry it, at the end of the day, you begin to wonder. By the time you pay rent for a year in VGC, you will find out that you have run down on your retirement benefit. All of your saving is gone. Then you now want to run back to the mainland. So your lifestyle, you need to begin to consider your lifestyle. What lifestyle do I want to live in retirement? Then you begin to say, where do I want to live in retirement? Somebody living in Lagos, be it on the mainland or on the island, the cost of living in Lagos is different from those in Akure or those in Ibadan. I might want to retire from Lagos, and I'm saying I'm going to Ibadan to go and retire and spend my life there peacefully. But for some people, they will tell you, me ti de konyeri Ibadan mo ti se gbogbo ewe mi. I would like to go to Lagos. Let me even see what they see in that Lagos. And you come to Lagos without having an apartment. One thing you also need to consider in how much you need to live a comfortable retirement is the fact that do you have an apartment now? Do you have your own house? Are you living in a rented apartment or in your own property? The person who lives on his own property is different from the person who lives in a rented apartment. So your plan will be different. You also need to look at the fact that at retirement, will I still have children who are still depending on me? Would I still have people who I'm still sending in school? For most of us, we are not lucky like some people who would get married at the age of 21, 22, or 25, and they would have given birth to their children within the space of 5 years. They've given birth to all they need to give birth to. And before they even leave work, most of their children are out of the university. There are some people, even when they are retiring, their children are still in secondary school. So you need to begin to take a look at all of this before you begin to say, this is the amount I need for my comfortable retirement. Another thing is, how do you want to spend your time? That's another thing to look at in your planning, in your pre-retirement plan. You need to begin to say, okay, now that I'm out of job, now that I'm retired, how do I want to spend my time? Do I want to learn a new skill? Do I want to become an entrepreneur? Do I want to have this small poultry at my backyard that will keep me active whilst I'm retired? Or do I want to go into a business? Or do I have a company that when I leave Rccg, I'm going to go back into my own business? If you don't have an alternate source of income, you need to begin to think about one now. It might not be a job. It might be where you put in your money. You might invest in properties. You can invest in some companies' shares. You can invest in so many ways. You need to begin to think about what you will do after this time, how you are going to spend your time. Because for most people, depression comes from the fact that for most of us here, maybe it doesn't happen in Redeem, but I am quite aware in the private sector out there, you see people who leave their house. I could remember the time I lived in Ikorodu. I work on the highland. I leave my house as early as 4:30. I don't get back home sometimes until 11:30, 12 o'clock. Weekends, I just want to sleep. So, in terms of having friends or having people you relate with, you don't have them. So, you've cut off your friend. Your work has made you to cut off all of your friends while you are still active. Then when you retire, who do you want to spend the time with? You now begin to call them. Let us hook up. Where are you now? Then they tell you that, so you now have my time now. All those times we begin to call you that we should hang out. You tell us you are busy. Now, so most people, out of boredom, they end up having one emotional trauma or the other, and they begin to fall sick, and before you know it, they are gone. So you need to begin to think about it. How do you want to spend your time in retirement? Another question you need to ask yourself is the fact that you need to ask, how long am I going to live? I've heard stories about people saying, my great-grandfather was 190 before he died. My father is still alive and is already 150. So in our family, we used to live long. So if you are someone like that, you know, okay, in your family you have the gene of living long. Then, what do you want? Now you are retired at 60. What do you want to do with that 80 years that you still have left? How do you want to spend it? Now, how well have you taken care of your health? How do you want to manage your health? For most of us here, we enjoy different HMOs, all on the Rccg. When you stop work, how do you intend to manage your health? For most people, we just see the faces looking radiant, but deep down in their bodies, so many things is going on. So many people are suffering from one ailment or the other. You then begin to ask yourself, how do I manage this health when I'm out of this place? How do I begin to take care of my health when there's no more free medication? I just breeze into the hospital and I'm like, oh, I work with the Redeemed of Church. I'm under XYZ HMO. They attend to you. The bill is taken care of. You go home. Your children. How do you manage their health care? Do you have anybody who has a unique requirement for health facilities? How do you intend to manage this at retirement? You need to begin to put all of this into consideration. You need to take care of yourself well now so that you will not become a liability on yourself at the time when you are retired. Now, the last question you need to ask yourself when formulating a financial plan or a retirement plan for yourself is, do you have a dynamic financial plan? I'm focusing on financial plan because for most of us, there are three issues we have. We have at retirement, you would have either financial issues, then the other one that will come in will be emotional issues, and the other one will be psychological issues. Thank you. Okay. You then begin to ask yourself, if finance is taken care of, you don't need to begin to bother your head about the other ones, because most things, money will be able to resolve most of this issue you have. So, moving forward very fast, I would want us to look at, because for you to have an adequate plan, you need to know what are the statutory resources that are even available to me. What are the options available to me in retirement before you begin to then consolidate or begin to have a plan B as, alongside. So, what you'll be looking at, or what we will be discussing now, is your benefits. These are the benefits, some of the benefits you would have access to. Pre-scheme. It briefly talks about, for those of us who have joined service before 2004, when the new pension scheme came to be, the pre-scheme will be applicable to you. So for the job, when you take up in some organization, I think Redeemed Christian Church of God has a plan like this, where you already have, there's an entitlement, there's this money they give to you when you're leaving. It's your pre-scheme. Your pre-scheme is just all entitlements, exit entitlements that you are supposed to get from your employer before the 2004 Pension Reform Act. The next one is your monthly contribution. For most of us, because we are still young, you don't even know what is being credited into your pension account. Your PFA, we are all administrators. We know that 10% comes from the employer, 8% comes from the employee. Then this 18%, what is the figure? Do you even know it? Will it be enough to take care of you in retirement? Do you need to do an additional voluntary contribution? You need to begin to think about that. So your monthly contribution is what is currently being deducted from your salary at the moment and paid to your PFA. The next one is the interest accumulated. This is very important. If you have not been taking note of that statement of account, your PFA has been sending to you quarterly, you need to start doing so. Have they been giving you returns on the money you have been keeping with them? Or is just a loss they've been giving you? That will eventually get to play on your benefits when you are retiring. It reduces the amount of money you have access to. Then you also look at the last one there, which talks about your NSITF, or in some cases it's called MPF. NSITF is an acronym for National Social Insurance Trust Fund. It is the pension scheme that was in place before the new pension scheme came up. So if you have all of this, if you have your NSITF card with you, if you have been working before 2004 and you have that card of NSITF, please visit your PFA to transfer that money, that NSITF, to your pension, to your RSA, so that they can invest with it and it can give you value for money. Now, what are the options available in retirement? I will just briefly talk about it, then I'll take your questions. Now, the options available are either a lump sum. Lump sum is the bulk money you get from all of your pensions. When everything is being calculated, they pay you a certain amount of money, en bloc, between 0 and 50% of your total RSA balance. The next one is talking about program withdrawal. Program withdrawal is also one of the options available to you at retirement. Program withdrawal is just a product of the PFA. It talks about how you get your monthly pension. The next one talks about annuity, and after that you have program withdrawal and annuity. You can go for either of these options at the point of retirement. But for you to know which option to go for, you need to know the peculiarity of your own case and which one of them will suit you. Annuity is a product of an insurance company. So you need to know what each of the options carries before you begin to go for it. So the risk involved in your options, there are risks associated with it. And one of those risks is longevity. How long are you going to live? It affects the option you pick. If you pick an option that will only serve you in the short term, you would end up blaming yourself going for it. You also need to look at the survivorship risk. By survivorship risk, we are looking at the fact that are you somebody who wants to leave something behind for your beneficiaries? You begin to look at the option you will go for. Is it program withdrawal? Is it annuity? Which one addresses this risk? You also look at volatility. Things go up and down in this country. So you need to know which one you will be going for as well. We also talked of spending power risk. By spending power risk, we are talking about the money that will be paid to you every month. In another 10 years, that monthly pension, will it be able to serve you? Will you be able to purchase the same items you are purchasing now? Will you be able to purchase it in another 10 years? That's what that is talking about. So, in conclusion, you need to start planning for your retirement now. And if you don't plan, time will plan for you. And the plan you will get from time might not be something that is profitable to you or that addresses your need at the time. Retirement is coming. It's not as though it's just going to come upon you. How well have you planned for it? I don't know if time will permit us. There's just a short video of about 2 minutes or so. If you can just help me play it, please. I will be rounding up with that, then I will take your questions. For those that, please, how many of us have questions? So we just know before we'll take note of us, then we'll take the video. Do we have anyone with questions? Okay. So we'll just take the video now. Mr. Onodiji, please, I would need you to assist. Like I also said, we've shared our questionnaire to you, please. It might not go around everybody, but for those we've shared it to, kindly help us just fill through. It's not going to take much of your time. It's just a leaflet. Please, kindly help us fill while we play the video.
Sorry, please, any questions? We have.
Question is about, you talked about various ways we can withdraw at retirement, annuity, and some other plans. So my question is, okay, my question is, can you please explain those things? We don't understand annuity, this and that, so that we know the best one.
Thank you very much for that question, ma'am. So I will just briefly address that. I will just take the two, program withdrawal and annuity. Like I said then, program withdrawal and annuity is just a way, is just the mode with which you get your monthly pension. For program withdrawal, is saying that you are staying with your PFA to get your monthly pension. So if you are with any of the PFAs now, you retire, and you are going for program withdrawal, it means that PFA will be the one paying you on a monthly basis. Then for annuity, it means that after you've gotten your lump sum, you decide to tell the insurance, your PFA that, sorry, I'm no longer staying with you. I want to buy a life annuity plan with the insurance company of my choice. So the PFA transfers your money, whatever is left after the lump sum, they transfer it to a particular insurance company of your choice. You would have gotten a quotation from them. Now, I would like to also just itemize a little of the benefits of each of the, or the feature of each of these options. For program withdrawal, it is calculated based on your last salary. By last salary, the law states that before you even get your lump sum, that they should set aside 50% of your last salary, that's monthly salary, for a period of at least, for a period of at least 18 to 22 years, which is your expected lifespan. Now, if they set that money aside, once they set that aside, whatever is left is what you get as a lump sum. But for most people, that the balance in their accounts cannot even pay them 50% of their last salary. By last salary, I'm not saying the salary that eats your account every month. I'm talking about your basic transport and housing allowance. Those are the three things the PFA considers as your last salary. So now, if you look at your pay slip, look at how small those things are. And 50% of those three combined is what you get every month. Will it be able to take care of you? Now, and the balance in your account cannot even pay that 50%. So what the law then recommends is, let them pay you 25% of the total money in your account. Then the remaining balance is distributed or spread over 18 to 22 years. If you look at your current balance, take 25% out of it, then spread the remaining 75. Then you have an idea of what you might be getting when you retire. The other thing you need to note about program withdrawal is this. Program withdrawal, under program withdrawal, you will get your statement of account for how they pay you, how they invest with your money, what is your current balance, and how they are trading with your account. Under annuity, you don't get a statement of account because once your money leaves, it goes into a pool of fund. So the money ceases to be yours. It's no longer my money, it's our money. And because the insurance company is taking a risk on you, they cannot show you the interest on it. So if they are making a loss or they are making a profit, it is for the insurance company. The other thing you also need to note is this. Under annuity, annuity pays you for life. Program withdrawal also pays you for life in quotes. Because your money is being invested under program withdrawal, it is believed that after the 18 to 22 years, they will still be able to pay you something after that 18 years. But for annuity, it is already benchmarked that this person, we are going to pay him for as long as he lives. But there's a clause there. Should the owner of that account die a day after 10 years, the beneficiary gets nothing from that account. However, under program withdrawal, should anything happen to the owner of the account either 10 years, either 18 years, either 22 years. Whatever is left, in as much as there is still something in the account, it is paid off en bloc to your beneficiary. Another thing you need to note is under program withdrawal, there is a possibility of them increasing your monthly pension periodically. Whilst under annuity, whatever you have signed for in 2019 is what is applicable to you if you are the ones that live for 80 years more after retirement. That same amount you sign for at the point of retirement is applicable to you in the next 80 years. And that's where the issue of survivorship risk come in and spending power risk. Will that money that they are paying you now that you're going to get, will it be still relevant? Will it still be able to take care of you at the point in another 10, 15 years? So those are the things, those are some of the things you need to note in taking your decision with which option you are going for or not. So if you still need further clarification, you can always get our number. We will be willing to actually advise you on that. Thank you very much for your time. You've been really supportive in this presentation, and I wish you all a safe return back home when you decide to finish this in Jesus' name.
One more time, please, let's appreciate our pastor for that time out. We are grateful, sir, and we pray that the grace of God will continually increase in your life in Jesus' name. Retiring to retire. One thing is definitely sure, that every day we wake up to see another brand new day, we are getting close to retirement. And so it's wise we begin to plan. We'll take these few announcements. Those under Leadway Insurance, you have questions concerning your account statements, balances, or whatever questions you have that has been disturbing you. Leadway is on ground, and so when we close this session, you can quickly see them behind the auditorium. They are on ground, you can see them behind the auditorium. We'll soon be rounding up this session. We should remember that by 9 p.m., there's an all-night. And so buses will be bringing people from the hostel at 8 p.m. So when we close and we return by 8 p.m., let's be ready to return back to the hall for the all-night prayer sessions, which is very compulsory for every administrator that is participating in this International Conference 2019. Uniform for tomorrow is the 2018 suit and tie. The sisters know the scarf that was given for that uniform. The 2018 suit, white shirt, and the tie. They say, Eh? Which tie? The 2018 suit. What's the problem? Okay. All right. The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria that spoke to us earlier on, they dropped their timetable for trainings in the year 2019. And it's on our table there, just in front, on my extreme left, which is your right. You want to attend any of their trainings, the Assistant Director, Pastor Akin John, actually encouraged that we also tap into this opportunity of being members of this institute, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. So they have their timetable for the year and the programs they are going to be dealing with. You can actually come to the MC's table in front and pick up a timetable, or you go to their stand behind and ask any questions you will want to ask. Like I said, buses will be leaving at 8 p.m. from our hostels to bring us back to this auditorium for the all-night session. and everybody is expected to be part of it. All right. Are we through? Pastor Prince, is a video, Abi, or photo session? People sleeping. They are retiring to retire. Let's stop this video session now so we could continue. People are not concentrating again. They are retiring to retire. Pastor Bio, let's stop this one now, please. So that people can concentrate in the next thing we need to do. Shokone is definitely not there. All right. I'm told to announce that the raffle ticket has finally landed, and people will be moving around to sell for as many who want to acquire. It goes for 300 naira, and the gifts this year promises to be better than last year. So if you need a raffle ticket, you see them moving around with it. Just buy one for 300. Like the director advised, it's better you get one full pack for yourself, so that definitely you go back to something. Last year we had early birds and wonderful gifts were given to them. We have early birds again today who will get awesome gifts. The first person here came in around 4:24 a.m. Around 4:24 a.m. And I can assure you this result is not inconclusive. It's not inconclusive. We are reading directly. The collating officers were all available, none were kidnapped, and they delivered these results. So 4:24 a.m., all the way from the heartbeat of the nation, Delta 12. Please, our first recipient of our gifts today, Alade Samuel. Alade Samuel. He is a serious-minded administrator. The second person came in at 4:24 too, from still Delta 12. Ademi something justice. Pastor Prince, maybe she will come and help me and be giving them the gift. Please. The third person came in at 4:24 too, from Ekiti 3. Ayegbusi Titilayo. Ayegbusi Titilayo. The fourth person came in at 4:31 from Kwara 1. Michael Owoyem. Michael Owoyem. The fifth came in at 4:31 from Lagos 73. Afolabi Taiwo Terry. Afolabi Taiwo Terry. The sixth person, this person should have been first. Collating officers. The sixth person came in at 3:45. At 3:45. From KB Province. KB Province, Jeremiah Agbejoye, something like that. I don't know the person. Jeremiah Adejoye from KB Province. The seventh person came in at 4:44 from Ekiti 4, Joseph Ajiboye. Sister MC Jimo from Water Department should come to the back of the auditorium, the registration stand. Sister MC Jimo, not for gift, go to registration stand. Joseph Ajiboye from Ekiti 4. The 8th person at 4:58 from the department, Adenuga Stephen from the department. The rest came in at very normal times. The 9th person at 5:30 a.m. from Rivers Province 9, Godwin Okore. Godwin Okore from Rivers Province 9. At 5:30 a.m. from Adamawa Province, Paul Jacob. At 6:13 a.m. from Kaduna to Adeyeba Ilesami. Adeyeba Ilesami. 6:13 from Bayelsa to Ehiofin O. Ehiofin O. 6:24 Edo 9 Lawal Toyin. 6:24 Region 13. Region 13 headquarters. Omo from Region 13 headquarters. Yes. It's necessary. Snap us picture. 6:24 Rivers 9 Emanuela Ibiamu. 6:48 from the Gambia, Lawal John. 6:48 Ondo 9 Adenuga OS. 6:48 from Imo 2